Hey everybody, so it finished 2-2 at the London Stadium. So West Ham 2, Bournemouth 2. Look, it was overall it was a really good game, I thought. A good game to watch, bar sort of 20-30 minute spell or so in the first half, if you're a West Ham fan. Look, I think it was a little bit of a disappointing result, of course, but I'm feeling sort of positive about it, to be completely honest with you. I think it could have gone a lot worse than it was. I would say, yeah, I would go as far as say I was quite enjoying watching the game. I felt like we gave it everything that we could have done. I think that the starting lineup was all wrong, really. I think that was really proven to be true at half time, and we started changing tact, made some substitutions, and we all just started playing well, right? We desperately needed a striker. We've been saying this for ages. We've got two. One that we've just brought in recently, and if you're going with the general narrative of things, apparently isn't up to fitness levels at this point to play in the Premier League. So I don't know when we're going to get to play him. Probably last two games of the season, maybe, I suppose. But that's Evan Ferguson, by the way. But to be honest with you, whenever he's come on as little cameos sort of here and there, I've not really been particularly impressed. So if we're just talking about fitness, you'd expect him to still be able to play like a good Premier League striker for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever that may be. I've not seen anything from him since he's been on to convince me, actually, to be honest with you, that I want to take him on at all. So, I just don't think he's ready. If he's somebody that, we came in, we got him on the cheap, 15, 20 million, I don't know, something like that, then we can keep him in the background and, coach him along, and hopefully in a couple of years he comes good, fine. But at the moment, it's going to cost far too much money for what we're actually going to get from him. I just don't think it's going to be good enough. There are far better strikers out there. But that being said, look, Fullrkug came on at half time, did the job that we needed to be done, and I got to say, I really, really like him, mate. I really do. I think he's doing a cracking job whenever he comes on. I think there's been only a couple of times I felt like he was a bit of a passenger in the past with the Lopetegui system, and but so far whenever I've seen him playing for Potter, I think he's been great. He's looked neat and tidy. He's laid people off where he's needed to. He's scored. And this is the first time that I've actually seen him score a relevant goal. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see him get the opportunity to actually celebrate, because he deserved it. It was an unbelievable finish. So well done, mate. Look, as I said, it was a fairly comfortable start, I think, for us for the first sort of 10, 15 minutes or so. I was quite pleased. Then we started to seem to kind of lose interest, I think. Again, some fairly negative passing going on. Things got a little bit boring for a while, until, of course, the inevitable sort of happens. You start taking your eye off things and being a bit sloppy, as we were. And, Areola made a big old mistake. He's going to have nightmares on that one for weeks. So, I do have an element of sympathy for him because, as a goalkeeper, which I was in the past, I'm 6'5", so it was just kind of a natural position for me. As a goalkeeper back in the day, you make a mistake and everyone sees it and it's a goal, really. Very rarely do you make a mistake and get away with it as a goalkeeper, whereas as a midfielder or a striker, doesn't matter really. You make a mistake, so what? There's a next time, and you're kind of encouraged to, to take a risk, to dare a little bit, in order to score and whatnot. But as a goalkeeper, you can't really be taking those kind of risks. And look, to be honest with you, I thought Areola had a bad game. I don't think he had a good game at all, especially after the mistake. His head went down, and he looked really shaky for a good sort of 7 or 8 minutes there. And maybe the rest. I think that's a position we need to be addressing in the summer window. I like him. I like Areola, but I do think that with the style that we're playing now, where we're trying to play out from the back, I just don't think he's good enough at it. And, at the moment, when you get into situations like that, from a shot-stopping perspective, he's starting to let us down. So his age profile is a little bit on the other side to what we would like it to be. As a goalkeeper, that's normally okay. But I think that, in this sort of instance, we should probably be shopping around, I think, come summer. Scarles. I thought Scarles was a bit unfortunate today. I don't think it was his game. I think it was the right decision to take him off at half time, bring Emerson on. I don't think it was horrendous. I don't think it was terrible. I just think he got out-muscled and showed a little bit of a lack of experience. Losing those physical battles. And I think Wan-Bissaka, it's obviously, if anybody watched the game, he bailed him out of quite a mishap that he made sort of in midfield. Wan-Bissaka sort of intercepted, kind of like tracked back and intercepted Utara. And for something that was a pretty heavy chance there for Bournemouth, had Wan-Bissaka not been there, I think Scarles was hunting for a foul there, but I don't think it was a foul. I just think he got out-muscled. But look, this is experience, and he's 19. So he's 19. Yeah, I think he's 19. So he's got a lot of time to grow into the shoes yet, and this is all experience. He needs to be getting this kind of experience. We learn from our mistakes, and I think, he made a couple today, and he'll certainly learn from them. So, again, sort of in that sort of 20, 30-minute spell in that first half, it was quite apparent that, we are lacking that sort of link between the defence and the midfield. We were getting a couple of moments there where there was, some pretty heavy gaps in between them that were sort of easily exploited by Bournemouth, which led Bournemouth to be fairly dangerous within that 20 to 30 minutes. And, we weren't really addressing it. I think Alvarez would normally be the kind of player that would sort of connect those lines, but I didn't really see a lot of him today, to be honest with you. There are times where, to be honest with you, I've maybe seen a little bit too much of him in the past. Often comes with a card. It's not like it's the end of the world, but he's another player that I do quite like, but I do think that we need an upgrade in that position for the summer. So from my understanding, there's a little bit of interest in him. So I think this will probably be the time to cash in, I think, on the summer for Alvarez. Again, good player, but I think he's been pretty outwardly sort of looking for a move away for a bit now. And I think this is probably the time to get it. Hopefully we can get some of our money back for that. We're not really good at that sort of stuff, especially now that we're without a technical director or anything like that to do negotiations and such. This is now back in the Sullivan and Brady kind of school of negotiations, and that does worry me somewhat. But hopefully we can get something back. It was, as I said, it was great to see Fullrkug have something to smile about. He's been a little bit of an underdog, I think. He's come in with a fairly negative age profile, certainly for a striker, and no one really gave him a chance. And to be honest with you, I wanted to kind of sit back and see what he could do. And I was pretty impressed every time he came on, to be completely honest with you. There's only been a couple of times where, I felt like at worst he didn't impact the game. But I think that was just, a lot of that was just tactically we weren't playing in the right way for a striker. He's sort of width of the 6-yard box, right? And, straight down the centre, he's always there, ready to receive a cross or something like that. For a header even, like as we say. And it was an incredibly well taken goal. Kepa was absolutely nowhere near it. I think it was textbook Fullrkug, to be completely honest with you. And look, obviously, as soon as that happened, I think that was what we were waiting for. Like, as soon as that happened, the atmosphere kicks up a good few notches, right? And that's exactly what we need. We know it's a bit of a dead stadium. That bit's sort of like been spoken about quite a lot, and everyone's got an opinion on that, and Lord knows so do I, right? But a lot of these atmosphere problems are just negative football being played and just nothing to cheer about. Like when we were playing under Moyes, it was difficult because when you're playing so defensively, how can you cheer your team when you've got 10-15% possession and you're just being peppered. Like, the best you can do is clench your bum cheeks and hope for the best. Like, this is not something to cheer about. So, getting Lopetegui and then shipping 5-6 goals a game, what have we got to cheer about? Nothing. All this negativity creeping in. And then we got Potter comes in. Potter comes in. And, he shores up the defence. Yes, we're not shipping as many goals now, thankfully. But that has, blunted our offence quite a lot. It's a give and take, isn't it, right? You can't take as many risks if you've got so many people behind the ball. So, look, it's been really difficult to find things to cheer about. But as soon as we scored that goal, you felt the lift. Even through the screen, you felt the lift. And I was at home as well, right? Just lifted by it. And I was so happy. I was in my bedroom at the time, horizontal, just laying down. Wife was next to me. She was playing Candy Crush or whatever it is that she does. And I'm watching it, and yeah, obviously I'm particularly happy, of course. And then I'm thinking, right, let's keep going. Let's go again. But back of my mind, I'm going, we'll probably sit back now and take a draw because, to be honest with you, I thought we'd lose this game. And I think most of us thought we would. I know Bournemouth haven't been in the best of form, but put that to one side. Neither have we. And certainly if Bournemouth score first, which they did, you think, well, we're just not scoring any goals in open play at the moment. We're pretty toothless. That's it. That's done. That's 1-0, 2-0, whatever it might be. We can't break anybody down. Now sit back, come out second half. Sit back, we can't break them down, done. End of game, dead. But we didn't. And stupid me, while they were making a couple of substitutions, Bournemouth, I thought, I'm going to pop downstairs, get myself a can of Coke. So I did. So I went downstairs, can of Coke, came up, and as I was coming up the stairs, I was thinking to myself, I know what the wife's going to do here. She's going to go, oh, there was a goal and you missed it, or something like that. And I'm ready for it. So as soon as I come up the stairs, she says it. And I'm going, yeah, all right. And then I get in there, and there was a goal, wasn't there? And it's typical that I'm out of the room when something happens. And so, yeah, obviously, I'm happy, but it's a bit more muted at this point because I didn't see the goal. So I had to, rewind and all that kind of stuff and go through it. But again, a great goal, headed goal again. So, West Ham aerial threat, not Souček today. But yeah, for a small, and I'm going to say small, 5'9", for a small guy, I'm 6'5", so, relative. Sorry for anybody who's, 5'9" out there or smaller, but small guy for scoring headers, yeah. He's more of an aerial threat than he should be. There's quite a few headers now, isn't it? Albeit some of them were diving headers, but he's not so bad at them. So to be fair to him, well done. It was a really well taken goal, and again, Kepa absolutely nowhere near it. Both of our goals I thought were great, and I think both of Bournemouth's goals were incredibly avoidable. And on that note, let's talk about that second goal then. So, incredibly disappointing. It felt a little bit to me like the Aston Villa corner, if you remember that one, where it just, the free kick, the corner that never was. It's one of these things that, look, sometimes these happen. Sometimes they happen for you. Sometimes they happen against you. They're great when they happen for you, but look, VAR, their rules are strict in the sense that they can't get involved in yellow card decisions and things like that. So, they're not going to be able to save us here. The way that you save yourself is by defending your corner, is by defending your free kick, right? And Kilman, mate, I thought you had a fairly good game, to be honest with you, today, but that was a really big error of judgment. You were about 3 or 4 yards beyond all of our other defenders, keeping everybody on side, right? And then you were there so early and you still couldn't get high enough to head the ball away. That goal was your fault, mate. That lies solely at your feet, at your head. You can't... the offside trap, mate, that was a Mavropanos mistake, that one, mate, but But Kilman, as I say, he's mostly been pretty solid. I think a lot of people give Kilman a bit of flack, and I think that's just because of the amount of money that we spent on him. But if I'm fair to him, I think he's been a really, really good player for us this season. He's not the cult hero Wan-Bissaka is, but I think he's been really solid generally. A couple of little shaky areas, but that's to be expected when you're defending all the time. We're not the most forward thinking of players, of teams even. Excuse me. So yeah, look, we can get all down in the dumps about that goal, can't we? Because that's taken 2 points away from us, and we need those in the league right now. I know it's not a big game, for either of us teams, to be honest with you, but it was a potential 3 points that's turned into one, which is a bit of a gutter on balance, but. Look, if you told me that before we started the game, I'd have taken that. I'd have been happy. And certainly if you'd have told me that, I'd have actually enjoyed the game to watch as well. So, but I've got to say about those goals though, both of them, Bournemouth. Now, don't get me wrong, these are Bournemouth goals, so I'm not advocating for this, right? But look, there's been a couple of videos the last few days or so, a week or whatever. Well, it was quite a while, to be fair, of them getting at old Ange Postecoglou. And, the one I'm talking about in particular was where it gets a bit spiky towards the end of it. I think it was a Sky Sports reporter. Last minute or so of the interview. And bear in mind, this Sky reporter's, he's being a bit spiky himself, to be fair. Right? I don't know. I think he got the reaction that he deserved and that he expected. Now, Ange, to be honest with you, should probably be a bit better in terms of PR training than this for what he was actually reacting. But if we talk about the content he was talking about VAR. And, it's obviously we've spoken about this loads of times about VAR and, it's killing the game and all this kind of stuff. And look, I really do think it's true though. And, was it Gonzo likes to say it's turkeys voting for Christmas, and it is that we had the opportunity to change some things about VAR or get rid of it this season, and no one voted against it. I think the only team that did were Wolves, I want to say, and everybody else voted for it, which is absolutely mental. It's ruined the game. No one can cheer for their goals anymore. And to be honest with you, that was 6 to 8 minutes of the game, absolutely time wasted, when they were blatantly onside goals as well. I had no problem with that. I was looking at them going, I don't know what you're looking at. And if you are looking at it, I don't know what is taking you so long. And so with all the technology you got, I can see that with my own eyes. So that's onside. Just let it go, mate. Get on with the game. Just time wasting at this point. I don't care if it's Bournemouth or us. Just get on with it. Guilherme, positive. Here's a positive, another positive. When Guilherme came on, there was. I thought he did well. There was one mistake he made, obviously, but do you know what? I do think that I think he slipped a little bit there. He took it right down to the byline, pretty much. And I think the common belief is that he went for a shot and tried to squeeze it in the 2-degree angle that he had. And, when you see that does look particularly amateurish, and you could think, right, yeah, get some discipline, mate, sort yourself out. But on reflection and having a bit of a look at it back, from what I can see, he slips a little bit there. And I don't think he's fully meant that, but I do think he's got a little bit overexcited. And that's probably why he slips. So it's probably a bit of column A, a bit of column B. But other than that, if you take that piece out, he's quite a quick little player. And I think for a team that's lacking in pace, certainly down that left-hand side where we haven't got Somerville at the moment, I think he could end up being a really good asset for us. And I'm glad that Potter played him again, because he could easily have left him out and not played him today. So it's nice to see them actually rewarding him. If he is saying that, Guilherme is working hard in training and showing himself and showing his worth, and look, if we're going to sell him on or something at the end in the summer or use him next season, he needs to start getting some minutes. So fair play. And I really thought it was quite positive from him today. was a couple of instances where he's beaten his man and come through. So yeah, pretty pleased. So look, I'm going to wrap that one up. Yes, overall a disappointing result, but positively it was a better performance. Hopefully this is the beginning of a more forward-thinking, positive set of tactics that we can finally get behind as a fan base. Because I think we've just been, like I said last week, is this negative, stagnant football that we've been dealing with for a while. We just need something to get behind. If you give us something to get behind, we will do it. You know, don't get me wrong, it wasn't incredible or anything like that. But green shoots of recovery and everything, and yeah. At least I enjoyed watching it for a change.